name is Chris Johnson. I own and operate Johnson Saddlery Repair in Vassar, Michigan. We've been doing saddle repair since 1985. And our video today is to try to help the new horse owner in choosing a used Western saddle. And what we're going to work on is we're going to show you how to differentiate between an Asian import saddle, a Mexican import saddle, and a domestic saddle made here in the United States. Because there are certain characteristics that are the same for each style of saddle. Here we have today, these are what we would call the Asian imports. This particular saddle here, as you can tell, the stirrup leather has already broken on it. And what we want to look for when we're looking at an Asian import saddle is the tooling is just cut in. There's no three-dimensional effect to it at all. Your skirting is usually very poor quality fleece. They always use a fleece overtone over the center of your gullets. Your stirrups are always suede lined, and then they have a unusual padding in the foot tread. Your little bit higher quality Asian import saddle, which is this one here, you can see where the dye has rubbed off, where it's not even stayed all the way through. There again, the tooling is lightly stamped. This particular saddle here was a double T. And what it is with the Asian import saddles is they build their foundation on what is considered a hollow fiberglass tree. And as you can see, there's no substance to it, and what happens is through use, the trees will eventually crack and shatter and break into pieces. As you can see here, where your rigging attaches through here, this is all hollow. And on this particular side here where the bolts went through, it had already started to crack. And this was off of a King Series saddle. And this is what you want to look for when you're looking at the Asian import saddles that are sold on eBay and all over the internet today. And now here we have a pair of saddles that were imported from Mexico. My first saddle here, which is very typical of most of your Mexican saddles, will have a buck-stitch pattern on them. They'll at least be made out of a more traditional style leather that is dyed and tooled or stamped. The biggest discrepancy with your Mexican saddles is the saddle trees themselves, which is what is underneath your leather. They use a goatskin rawhide to cover a softwood tree, and they use a lot of plaster of Paris for filler. So the trees don't last very long. They're very prone to weather and warping. And the easiest way to distinguish your Mexican saddles are, a lot of them, like I said, with the buck stitching, they have splices in the skirts, they have poor quality color, they have a lot of wrinkles, they have a lot of marks and stuff on the pommels where you can see the rawhide through the leather, where the leather is so thin. They'll have your silver conchos. A lot of them won't have leather conchos underneath of them. They usually have lightweight lace stirrups. They use a low-grade fleece. As you can see on this one here, that's already disintegrated. And a lot of the roping saddles that come out of Mexico have suede horn wraps on them. And the biggest, like I said, the biggest problem with your Mexican saddles is the trees are very soft and they're very, very prone to warping out of shape and very prone to breaking very easily. And the leather that they use is of a poor quality. Most of them are tanned in southern Mexico in a urine base, so when you get them wet, they have a very musty, very unpleasant smell to them, and the dye has a tendency to rub off on your clothing or on your horse. And now we have three different qualities of saddles made here in the United States. We have a Billy Royal saddle, which is distributed through Schneider's out of Ohio. Billy Royal saddles are made in Texas. This particular saddle here has sterling silver. It's hand tooled on a rawhide covered tree. This will be one of your more high-end saddles, retails brand new for $5,000 to $6,000. And as you can see with it, the tooling is very three-dimensional. The tooling is very deep. Even though it is very dirty, you can still see the quality of the saddle. It's lined with real sheepskin. And then we have a mid-grade saddle. This one here is made by Crates in Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is our mid-grade saddle. Here again we have very good quality tooling. We have good Montana silver on it. There again it's a little bit worn out. It has a very good quality fleece on it. This particular saddle here will have a rally tree on it, which there again is made in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's an injection molded polymer plastic, and they've been making saddle trees since the early 80s. And then our third saddle here is what we would call an economy base beginner saddle. They're again made in Chattanooga, Tennessee back in the early 90s for Silver Royal. And this particular saddle here is there again, it's made out of a real cowhide. It's embossed instead of hand tooled, and it has a mid-grade quality fleece on it. It has tongue buckles on it, but there again it is also built on a genuine rally tree. So what we have here is 3 saddles made in the United States, used to save on cost versus a new one. You're much better off to spend $250, $300, $500 or $600 on a quality used saddle than to purchase a brand new saddle off of eBay or off the internet for that same or $500, $600. And the only thing you'll end up with is either going to be an Asian import or a Mexican import saddle. Because with the price of good quality leather in Americans and everything, our mid-grade saddles run between $800 to $1,000. But when you're dealing with our saddles made here in the United States, they're built to last. They'll last you 30, 40, 50, even 100 years when you buy a good quality saddle. Now the next thing we're going to show you is what to look for when you're going to purchase. You found a saddle that you think will fit your horse, you found a saddle you like. Now what do I look for to make sure it's safe and ready to ride on my horse? And here we have, unfortunately, an American-made saddle that has been very, very neglected and very, very abused. Now, what we're looking for when we go to purchase the saddle is the first thing you need to do is to test the saddle tree. That is your foundation. That is what your life depends on. This particular saddle here, the tree is broken in. What you want to do is you want to grab the front and the back firmly, and then you squeeze together. And if you look closely, you can see that the saddle tree moves. On a good solid saddle, there should be absolutely no give to the tree. The second thing you want to do is you want to check your rigging and make sure your rigging's all nice and tight and in good shape with no wear. As you can tell on this one here, somebody's great repair job, they riveted the fender on upside down. So know your repair shop too. You want to check your stirrup leathers for cracking, wearing, bad splices, holes that are torn out, anything like that there. You want to check your fleece for wear, because that's what gives your horse's back cushion and protection and helps absorb sweat. And you also want to be sure and check for any excessive signs of wear anywhere on the saddle. Make sure it doesn't crack when you bend it. Make sure it's got good conditioning in it. And then you should be safe to ride. And always try to purchase your saddles from a reputable saddle dealer that will offer guarantees that the saddle is safe and that they will allow you to bring it back if it does not fit you or does not fit your horse. So thank you very much for bearing with me on my very first video, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. And you have a great day.